Crime plays a major role in socialization in society and how society functions as a whole. Crime affects everyone in society, and it is important to understand the factors that contribute to criminal behavior. The factors that contribute to criminal behavior can be used to understand, educate, and inform those who want to make beneficial changes in society for reform. It is important to understand that there are risk factors which cause a predisposition to criminal behavior in our youth. It is also important to understand that race and ethnicity play a role in criminal behavior. Another factor that plays a role in criminal behavior is age. Using our sociological imagination, we can see that a child's upbringing plays a role in their deviant or delinquent behavior. The role of parents as a socialization agent in youth deviance is important. Deviant or delinquent behavior is affected by many variables in society. Because crime has a negative impact on society, by better understanding the factors that contribute to crime, society can work to try to change some of those societal issues that contribute to crime and be helpful to those who might have the predisposition and end up as criminals. Crime can negatively impact people and their property. While crime does enable police officers, fire station workers, healthcare professionals, social workers, and other public workers to have jobs, crime also causes destruction to people in society, including the criminal and the people that they affect with their decisions. There are many circumstances which contribute to crime in society and should be understood in order to better help everyone involved. The factors are predisposition, race, and age. There are risk factors which cause a predisposition to criminal behavior in our youth. These risk factors in children include aggression, dysregulation, and social isolation. Adolescent risk factors include parent detachment, deviant peer affiliation. Child and adolescent risk factors that differentially predict violent versus non-violent behavior was the article where I found this information. The severity of child dysfunction in late adulthood, including aggression, emotional dysregulation, and social isolation, was a powerful and direct predictor of violent crime. That information was from the child and adolescent risk factors that differentially predict violent versus non-violent behavior. That was a very informative article with that information. Children with aggression or emotional issues should engage in mental health counseling and other healthy coping mechanisms that will help them cope with their stressors so they're not led into criminal behavior. Lack of coping skills for emotional issues can contribute to damaging behaviors, which can lead to a risk for criminal actions. Regulating their emotions in a healthy manner can lower the risk that they might become engaged in criminal activity. Children with parental problems can be helped by other people like guidance counselors, school teachers. If teachers, guidance counselors, and mentors can help them, they can help guide the youth into a more positive way. And this encouragement can help lead the youth away from criminal activity if they have positive role models. With these statistics, it is clear to see that these risk factors need to be taken into consideration when raising our youth. Mental health care, proper parenting, and positive social circles are factors which should be properly and effectively maintained for children and adolescents in order to prevent criminal behavior. This comes from the article about child and adolescent risk factors that differentiate violent versus non-violent behavior. Race plays a factor in criminal activity in society. Race discrimination is linked to an increase in risk for criminal offending. This information comes from the Racial Discrimination, Ethnic Racial Socialization, and Crime article. They used panel data from several hundred African American male youth from the Family Community Health Study, and it was found that racial discrimination was a large issue when involved with crime. And this is because of African Americans being oppressed in society. There's people with hostile views of the race, and they're disengaged from norms. because of their past in society. Many of us have witnessed widely popularized media exposure of criminal activities on the news, with African Americans being a part of. Much of the time, certain races, such as black people, are spotlighted, which gives us a biased opinion of the criminals, and we discriminate because of this bias and think that many black people are criminals because of the mainstream media. African Americans may feel the heat of discrimination because of the news and feel badly about themselves. Thus, this raises their likelihood, and their negative feelings will impact their actions towards others that they feel are discriminating against them. Cultural socialization and preparation for bias are two factors that can lessen the risk for crime in society. This comes from the racial discrimination, ethic, racial socialization, and crime article. As a society, we must recognize the negative stereotypes towards certain races, and from socialization processes, which are not always taught directly but are learned from society. This information comes from crime, international perspectives, socioeconomic factors, and psychological implications article. It has been found that age also plays a role with crime in society. Those who've had a delayed start in school have been found to be less likely to partake in criminal activity at younger ages, because they find that according to the school starting age and the crime age profile article, they found that higher school age starting lowers the propensity to commit crimes at the young ages because they're in school. We must be educated on the warning signs of troubled youth who are at high risk, and once we can pinpoint the youth who require more guidance, we can provide sources and people they need to steer in a more positive direction. Our youth faces several risk factors rather than just one or two, so we must take into consideration that youth face the race, age, predisposition, and have a higher disposition to ending up in bad situations because of all of these factors. For example, African American teenagers have been an African American teenager who's been socially isolated, has no parents, will face a greater risk of getting into criminal activity. So in conclusion, socialization must be studied and understood thoroughly when related to crime. When we understand the factors that contribute to crime and deviance in society, we can better prepare our youth for more positive members of society. And the factors that contribute can be understood, educated, and we can help make beneficial changes. It is important to understand that there are risk factors which cause predisposition to this criminal behavior in our youth, and what can we do to reduce crime in society? These are things we must keep in mind when studying crime in society, and we can recognize these factors and begin to implement ways of adjusting to society to shape a safe and positive behavior in society.